Hello and welcome to Middlesex Update. I'm Melissa Hurley and I want to thank you for joining us here today. We've recently gotten a lot of mail and correspondence about past shows. It seems that everyone's watching Middlesex Update and we hope that you're continuing on watching Middlesex Update as well. Just to let you know some comments we had Dr. Farouk Hassan on a few months back, and he is an international diplomat, and he's actually back in the U.S. teaching at Harvard, and it was a great show. We talked about international relations and Pakistan's role since September 11th and what they're doing over in that area working with the U.S. You also may remember we had Senator Jarrett Barrios on, who talked about his new role. He made the leap from representative for Cambridge into senator. And we also had Sheriff Jim DePaula. Some of you may remember. Very interesting show where we talked about a new facility that is being built on the same grounds as where the Correctional Institute is in Billerica. And we talked all about those plans. We also talked about the role of the Sheriff's Department. It's not just the sheriff taking care of the bad guys, but it's also working with the community in public safety initiatives, working with kids to teach them about public safety initiatives as well, working with the schools, the communities. It's a community partnership throughout Middlesex County, and we were happy to have him on as well. Now, you may remember a few months ago, back in December, where it was a very, very, very cold day, and Middlesex Update was there for the duration. We were there at the Krispy Kreme groundbreaking, and those of you who never had a Krispy Kreme donut, it really is something different. I will mention that if you see our producer, Joe Fortunato, he actually gave up donuts from December to now, so I guess he's having a great time now that the store is open. But we brought you the groundbreaking in full, and later on today we're going to see the official ribbon cutting. It did open up a few weeks ago, and from what I understand, there's just been long, long lines. Back in December, actually, when they were here for about a week, there was lines up to 4 hours. There was a 4-hour wait, and that was in the heat of the winter. But this year, now that they've opened, I understand there are many lines, and you know what they say, when you drive by and you see the hot donut sign on, that means to go in because there's hot donuts. So we're going to learn about that a little bit later. Another project we're going to talk about tonight is a project that our producer's been working on, and it's an area that you probably passed by a million times. It's the State Police Barracks in front of the Lenny P. Zakim Bridge, and he has been working with the developers. He took some photos and some videos. Since September 11th, Homeland Security has become such a large part of the daily routine of the state police troopers as well as the Coast Guard, and the troopers that are at the State Police Barracks. It's their job, along with the Coast Guard, to patrol the harbor, Boston Harbor and the Charles River. And with some Homeland Security funds, they were able to get a brand new stainless steel door for the boathouse. Collins Door from Chelsea won the contract, and they were there with our producer putting it together. So we're going to take a look at that and just let you know how your Homeland Security funds are working. And still later on in the program, we're going to introduce you to a man who just had his 90th birthday. Charles Scioli, also known as Skeets, has been very active in the boxing community. He's been a ring announcer, and he hails from the North End and Somerville. We have an interview that is showing on the local cable access channels, and we're going to bring you a little bit of that interview. So I want to say happy birthday, Charlie. And right now we're going to go to Krispy Kreme's in Wellington Circle in Medford, where the owner is going to be talking right before the ribbon cutting.
To open the very first Krispy Kreme in the state of Massachusetts. In so doing, we have been pleasured by the Bay State All-Stars cheerleading group. We thank all of them for being here and helping us in our grand opening. And we thank all of you who have chosen to come and visit us for doing so. And we hope that we present you with fine and fond experiences every time you come to our unit here. I have to say that without the leadership and the help of some people that I'm going to introduce, we wouldn't be standing here today. There would still be an old Bigfoot's restaurant here. And at this time, I would like to acknowledge Mayor Michael McGlynn, City Councilman Bill Carr, a brave young lady by City Council Lady Brianna Longo, Councilperson Michael Marks, and Brian Connor, Executive Director of the Chamber of Commerce. I can only say with heartfelt thanks, and I really mean this, without the support and leadership that was shown by these people, would not be here. And they certainly deserve to be your leaders in your community, because it was an interesting situation where a number of cities wanted to be the first Krispy Kreme in Massachusetts. Well, the leadership of Mayor McGlynn and his group certainly caused it to happen. And at this time, I thank them from the bottom of my heart. And I also thank the number of people who are part of the New England Dough, is what we call, organization, who have worked diligently hard and were up at 3 o'clock this morning to get this unit open. I was interviewed earlier about the economic prospects and consequences of our being here. Well, when you stop and think of it, you had an old Bigfoot's here that was yesterday, not today. By doing what we did, we put a lot of money into the land building and everything that's here, and we provided employment for a large number of people. Much to our surprise, when we advertised for employees for the Krispy Kreme, we're not talking management, we're talking hourly employees, we hired 232 hourly employees. We had a meeting for those employees just to review procedures and this and that. And again, much to our surprise, 227 people showed up. That's pretty fantastic that happened. But we're proud, we're happy, and I have to say that I'm fortunate. I have 4 children. All of them are in the business, and this tall, funny-looking guy with the yellow shirt on is Mr. Krispy Kreme. His name is Jonathan, so if you need anything, he's the guy to see. The man next to him in the white jersey is Bill Janickies. He is the Chief Operating Officer of all our companies. The lady next to him is Janice Matthews. Her unofficial title is Vice President of Everything, and she just about does that. And one of my daughters next to her is Cindy, who's treasurer of the company. But we have a funny group. We all do everything that there is to do, and I'm sure that the mayor and his council people do the same thing. At this time, I'd like to introduce Mayor Michael McGlynn.
Thank you, Nick. First of all, you should know that since you've done all your promotions around here, the whole workforce at City Hall, we've already burnt out 2 treadmills trying to work off some of these glazed donuts. They're very, very tempting. But we want to officially welcome Nick Janickies and the entire Janickies family and Krispy Kreme here to the city of Medford. You've certainly gone above and beyond in working with the city to make sure that you put a first-class operation in here. The first time that we met, this building had another design. And we worked with members of the staff, and we talked about maybe making it into brick, maybe putting in some of the old period lighting, maybe putting in some of the landscape in the area that totaled up an additional $300,000. And the Janicki family did not hesitate to make it happen. They pulled back the plans, came back in 2 weeks with the new drawn buildings, and decided to put together a capital plan of over $2.5 million, which is very key for our community, and also, as he has already stated, created 250 job opportunities, mostly for Medford residents here in our community. And also the presence of this building will expand the tax base here in the community during some very difficult economic times that help us to continue to deliver services to people in the community. So, Mr. Janickies, we welcome you and the entire family here and wish you the very best of luck. There are a couple of people that I would like to thank personally besides the Janickies, and one gentleman is Joe Fulford. And Joe, where is Joe? Because Joe worked with us on the landscape and the trees and everything else. He's done a great job. He's got a great temperament, and I recommend him to anybody here who's looking for somebody to help them with their landscape. And finally, to Janice Matthews. As Nick indicated, she's the vice president of the operations here, and you hate to single anybody out. but I would love to work with this woman on another job. She is no nonsense, get things done. What do you need here in the city? She provided everything for us, and she did a great job in making sure this happened. So, Janice Matthews, please raise your hand so everybody knows who you are. And once again, we welcome everyone here, and just remember, here in the city of Medford, we have the dough to buy the donuts. Nick, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor. Representative Donato?
How are you? Well, Representative Champer and I are very happy. I'm more happy than Representative because it's in my district, Representative. But, thank you. That's all. Who said that? Oh, Representative Champer, why don't you come up and join me? Representative Champer, yes. Come in. We're all here now. You know, Medford, as the mayor said, Medford is very proud to have the first Krispy Kreme in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and we in the state delegation here, on behalf of our state delegation, I'm very happy that you chose my representative district to do that, because it reflects, I think, what's going on in our Commonwealth, and that is that we're encouraging the business like yourself to come into our Commonwealth and make things happen. So on behalf of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, the House of Representatives, be it hereby known to all that the Massachusetts House of Representatives offers its sincerest congratulations to Krispy Kreme Donuts in recognition of selecting Medford as the first site in Massachusetts to locate your establishment. The entire membership extends its very best wishes and express the hope for future good fortune and continued success. Given this 24th day of June, year 2003, signed by Thomas Finneran, Speaker of the House, offered by myself, Paul Donato, State Representative, and Vincent Champa. Best of luck. Congratulations.
Very much. I'm going to carry this with me. If one of your troopers stop me, I'm going to turn around and joke. No, I'm only joking.
Representative Champa said it's okay.
We had a gentleman who couldn't get away from the table where he was eating all those Krispy Kreme donuts. But we got him away. Bob Penta, President of the City Council. Well, I think we've said enough, haven't we? I think it's time for us to cut the ribbon.
You sure you don't want to know? On three. Can you ladies help us count?
1, 2, 3.
What's your name? My name's Rachel.
There you have it, the ribbon cutting of the first ever in Massachusetts Krispy Kreme donut shop, and it's right there in Wellington Circle in Medford. And Dunkin' Donuts, I don't know, I think you may be saved because you have great coffee, but Honeydew, you better watch out. And I'm sure there'll be many more Krispy Kremes in the state. And now here we have Al Valenti Jr., who is interviewing Charles Scioli about his wonderful career and just life and being 90 years old.
And welcome to an afternoon dialogue with Charles Skeets Scioli, the man, the myth, the legend, the Somerville native, born in the North End, who will celebrate his 90th birthday on July 1st. Skeets, it's great to be with you.
Thank you.
Well, we look back upon your storied history, and the first question that comes to my mind, obviously, is, Skeets, where were you actually born and where were you raised?
I was born in the North End on Hull Street, on Snelling Place, Upper Hull Street. That's where the old North Church is, Christ Church, where the Paul Revere hung the lanterns. There was a little school in that particular yard that I was born in, and there was a lot of nice times at that point. And I went to the Columbus School after getting out of kindergarten at that little Palmart school in the alleyway that I lived in. There was a school there, and the Michelangelo School was just above it. And I went to this Palmart School, the kindergarten and the first grade, and then from there they transferred us to the Columbus School on North Benner Street, if you remember that.
Oh, sure. So basically, you're North End born.
Correct.
Raised as a young boy in the North End.
Correct.
But you moved to Somerville. And what year was it you moved to Somerville?
About the year 1918, 17, in that era.
So you're a young man now. You're just a young boy.
Excuse me?
You're a young boy starting out, and now you're living in Somerville.
That's right.
What are your fondest memories about the North End when you look back?
Well, my fondest memories was I was attracted to the young fellows from the neighborhood, and we were very close. And after moving to Somerville, I used to come back to Boston every blessed day. And I would go to Sullivan Square and climb through the bars to get in and ride the T or the elevator into Boston, and get up at Haymarket and go down and walk down the North End to my corner with the boys. And I would happen to have my meals with the boys from the North End in their homes. They always welcomed me, and I did that for a number of years.
Do you have any memories of things you did in the North End that stand out? Like, I heard one time there was a story about yourself and the Freedom Trail, and how there was a tour through the Freedom Trail that you got involved in. Can you tell us a little bit about that story?
The buses would come up the Royal Blue Lines and the various bus companies would come up with the people that wanted to see the history of Paul Revere. I mean, see Paul Revere's home, and see the Christ Church, and the Cops Hill Cemetery at the top of Hull Street. And we used to get on the bus at the beginning of Salem and Prince. We used to greet them down there and get on the bus and ride up with them, and we'd start reciting through a bullhorn. And it went similar, something like this. You're approaching the Christ Church where Paul Revere hung his lanterns. One by land and two by sea, I and the opposite shore will be. Right up the hill here from this church, it's the second oldest cemetery in the city of Boston. It's called Cops Hill. Cops Hill Cemetery. David Copp was the first man buried there. That's why they named it Cops Hill. And right around the corner of Sheaf Street is the home of Samuel Francis Smith. He was the man that wrote the Song of America, My Country Tears of Thee, Sweet Land of Liberty. Now, if you'd like to see the Paul Revere's home, I'll stay right on the bus, and I will direct you to Revere's home. And when you get to Paul Revere's home, they would get off and tour the home itself, you know. And you'd come out and you'd tell them that he used to have a horse there, and he was a coppersmith, and he was married so many times, and he had so many children, and the like of that. It was a lot of fun. So after we left Cops Hill Cemetery, Paul Revere's home, we would go to Bunker Hill Monument in Charlestown. As you got to the beginning of the monument, you'd see the monument standing in front of you, and you'd point it out to them. And you'd say, this is Bunker Hill Monument. It stands 221 feet high, and it has no elevator. It's made of Quincy granite, and if you care to walk it, It costs you 1 penny to walk up to get into it, and you got to walk 221 winding stairs. And I would surmise it would take you a good 15 to 20 minutes to walk it. But on the front of this monument, as you're entering, is the statue of Colonel William E. Prescott. He was the man that gave that famous command, "Don't fire, boys, until you see the white of the enemy eyes." But while I'm at it, I may say that this is not Bunker Hill. Bunker Hill Monument, the Bunker Hill area, is 1/4 of a mile southeast of this locale.
Now you're a teenager. You go out to buy your first car. Do you recall the first car you purchased and how much it cost you?
Yes. The first car I purchased was a Model T Ford.
And how much was it?
I think it was $300 and some odd dollars.
And how much was the first gallon of gas you bought?
Oh, God, them days gasoline was 10 gallons for $1.
10 gallons
10
for
cents a gallon. It went as low as 7 cents a gallon.
Interesting. Okay, now you're a teenager. You're getting around on your own. You're traveling in between the North End and Somerville. And you're probably best known for boxing. When was it that you first became affiliated with boxing?
When I was 12 years of age, I got affiliated with Johnny Troy. We started working the boxing shows, passing out the gloves to the amateur kids, and we did it on a professional level. The first boxing show that I ever attended was at the old Boston Arena. It was the National AB, at that days it was AAU, Amateur Athletic Union. They had the National Senior Championships. And that's where I started with the gloving department with Johnny Troy. And that's where I met Joe Barrows, who was Joe Lewis. It was a lot of fun.
So now you've been in boxing some 70-odd years. And when you look back upon amateur boxing and professional boxing, and you mentioned some of the greats already, how did you actually become a glover? Because that's what most people remember you as, a glover, but you had other roles you performed too. But how did it become that you would become this famous glover, the glover of champions?
After I did a few years gloving, I was clerking the boxing shows. I'd done that for a number of years. But then I became president of the amateur boxing when it was AAU days.
We've got a great picture here of The Rock, who was a great heavyweight champ from Brockton. Tell us a little bit of what you know about Rocky.
This is what happened. I got a telephone call one day, and this was in the early summer. And it was from a very dear friend of mine, a former boxer, Gene Caggiano from Brockton. Gets him on the scale. I said, get him on the scale, we'll weigh him in, weighed in. And he was a light guy for a heavyweight. You know, he was like about 184 pounds. But he was well built, you know, he had a real specimen. So I says, Rocky, come on, come with me. I says, Rocky, do you know how to throw a jab, a left hand? He says, yeah, like this, and he floundered with it. He almost went head first with it. He threw a left hand, and he looped it, and he floundered, you know, as if he was going to fall. I said, what did Gene teach you? He said, well, he told me how to throw a left hand. He said, that's what he told me to do, and he's doing this, you know. Well, finally, what happens? I turned around, I says, see this hand? Shoot your left hand straight for this hand and keep it up high and just jab and pull it back. Jab, pull it back, and hit my hand at the same time. He didn't. He almost broke my hand by doing so. Well, anyway, I had him doing that for about 3 or 4 minutes. Then I says to him, let me see your balance. I want to see if you're all right. And I started twisting him around, you know, to see if I could get him off balance. He's pretty good. He wasn't too bad on his balance. I says, you're going out there and fight. I said, the only thing you can do is you're going to go out there and use that left hand, and make sure you do. I says, that's enough for tonight. He went out there, and he threw a jab, a solid jab, and he hit the guy right on the chin. The guy didn't get up.
Didn't get up.
Didn't get up.
And the rest we know is history.
They had to carry him out, the guy.
Yeah.
I happened to watch that particular fight.
He did become heavyweight champion.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you've done other things in boxing. We have a great picture here of you as a ring announcer.
Yes, I did the announcing. In fact, I did the announcing for your grandfather, all of his shows. And we had a great relationship. And we promoted national championships together.
Mm-hmm.
He and I.
How was it you came up with the name Skeets? How did this name come up?
Oh, that come up, my last name was Scioli. And everybody would call me with my last name, and they'd be calling me Ski. They kept saying Ski. And the first thing you know, Skeets, they started with Ski and they ended it with Skeets.
Best fighter?
Joe Louis.
Best fight you ever saw?
The best fights I've ever seen was Charlie Longo fighting Red Afanito in the Boston Garden.
What was it like?
When they opened the garden, Honey Boy Finnegan fought the main bout with
Andre
Rudis.
In 1928.
Is that when it was? In 28.
You would have been 15 years old.
That's how old I was.
What was fight night like at Boston Garden?
Oh, unbelievable. Unreal. And they used to pack it. They used to pack them in.
You probably saw over 100 fight cards at the garden.
Oh, God, 100. Those days there were a lot of memory to them, you know.
You did that with your longtime friend Tommy Ross, and here's a great picture of Tommy and yourself.
Yeah. Tommy and I, yeah, we did a lot. We did a lot of things together.
Tommy coached boxing at Harvard for over 50 years.
That's right.
The great, marvelous Marvin
Oh,
Hagler.
God, unbelievable.
One of a kind.
That's right.
You know, you saw a lot of great boxing. You saw a lot of great sporting events.
Oh, definitely.
You lived 90 great years.
I lived a real nice life. I enjoyed every moment of it. I wish it could continue. And I'd love to see that Century one.
The big one.
The big one, right. And I was told that I'm going to make it. So if I make it, thank you, dear Lord.
Well, this has been an informal dialogue with Charles Skeets Scioli, the man, the myth, the legend. Skeets, happy birthday.
Thank you very much, Al.
Well, there you have it once again. Happy birthday, Charlie. And for Middlesex Update, I'm Melissa Hurley. I think we're going to go hit Krispy Kreme right now. I'm just wondering why Joe didn't bring me back a donut. For next time, I'm Melissa Hurley. We'll see you soon.